lubricate and cool the turbo. So, you need to be aware of that. They also tend to burn oil as they get older. They burn oil because the seals and the bearings in the turbos get worn out due to the constant heat cycling. That's why I run a 7,500 mile oil change interval on this car. Another thing that I do with this car, which you should do with any car that has a turbo, this car also has it's a hybridly cooled turbo. It uses both the oil from the engine and the engine coolant to cool the turbo. There's also a heat plate on the oil filter housing for cooling the oil with the engine coolant. So the coolant gets rather hot, but that's designed to do that. But my point is, turbos get really hot, so you need to, before turning the engine off, give it a couple of minutes to cool off. Just sit with the engine at idle for a minute or two if you've been on a long drive, or if you've been high in the RPM band where the turbo's on a lot. The other thing you can do is install what's called a turbo timer. This will keep the engine running, it'll let you take the key out, and then after a predetermined time, it'll shut the engine off. This car gets around that, sort of. It's still good practice to let it idle for a minute or two when you get to wherever you're going. With the water-cooled turbo, because there's an ancillary pump for the water cooling loop for the turbo that's connected to the ECM that runs the turbo pump after you shut the engine off. You want to cool it first before you let that take over, just so that the oil in the bearings doesn't burn off. The bearings are going to be hot, the oil's going to be hot, and the easiest way to move that heat away is to just let it idle. So if you're running something with a turbo, just give it a couple of minutes when you get to where you're going. Let it idle, and then shut it off. Give your stuff time to cool down. Otherwise, you're going to be replacing turbo cassettes fairly rapidly and burning a lot of oil, which, if you're not checking your oil levels, causes other problems. So I hope you found this somewhat useful, somewhat insightful, and I hope that it saves you a headache in the future. Thanks for tuning in. If you've found this enjoyable, please hit the like button. If you want to see more stuff, please hit subscribe. Thank you all for tuning in. Sharpshot21 out. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please hit like and subscribe. New videos will be aired every Monday and Thursday at 8 a.m. New streams at 9 p.m.